Hello. Okay. My name is Chris Wong. I lead developer relations here at Mapbox, and welcome to our Build with Mapbox session on web development. Some housekeeping. Captions are available in multiple languages, so you can turn that on in your Zoom user interface. You can submit questions through the Zoom Q&A feature. We're going to have a short Q&A at the end. We'll see if we can get to your questions, so please direct it specifically at one of the panelists if you can, or one of the presenters. There's a chance to win Mapbox swag with every session you attend, so by all means, join as many as you can today and soak up all the great information about Mapbox tools and technology. And then lastly, discover past build sessions in the Zoom event lobby or on mapbox.com/build. All the videos will be available for you to peruse later at your leisure or share with your friends and colleagues. Today, I am joined by Mira, Ryan, Murat, and Stepan. So we will be giving a quick overview of what's new for web developers from the various product areas that we work on. So we'll start with maps, then we'll move to search, and then we'll move to navigation, and then we'll have time for Q&A at the end. So the presenters will come out later. I'm going to start with a very quick rundown of Mapbox products for web developers. So again, you can think about our product offering in terms of maps, search, data, and navigation. So you probably have all used Mapbox GL JS, but there are many other services that will complement your web map experience when you're building. GLJS v3, as you already know, probably gives you Mapbox Standard, 3D buildings and trees, globe view. It's got tons of extensions. It has highly complex customization capabilities and endless possibilities for any web project. I encourage you to check out the examples. This is a great place to get started and learn about new features. I was just calling out the new clipping example, which is a brand new feature that just came out. So you'll be able to actually cover a certain amount of the map and remove features in an area. That's a brand new feature. So check out the examples. We have a long list of plugins. Some of these were made by third parties. Some of them are maintained by us, but possibilities are endless to extend the functionality of GLJS in your web projects. A quick rundown of use cases. You can build amazing, beautiful web experiences for travel planning, news media, and exploration maps. Same thing, kind of exploring, showing points of interest and accompanying information on the map. Fitness and social apps that want to show kind of where people are, where they were, and share that information quickly. And visually, you can build data dashboards to really show rich, dense information alongside charts and graphs. You can build storytelling apps that kind of have feature complex animations. We have source available demo apps you can actually pull down, clone on GitHub, and actually see some of the patterns we use to how we mix together Mapbox services into a web application. So be sure to check those out. And we also have an AI tool that has been indispensable, especially for people that are trying out new advanced concepts or just getting started. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mira, who's going to give you some of the new things to be excited about on the web for maps. Take it away, Mira.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So I'm Mira. I'm the product manager for GLJS. And as Chris mentioned, I'll be briefly talking you through some of the latest improvements and updates to our GLJS and also our standard style. So first up here, we have the addition of React examples to our documentation, which now you can find the React toggle in our very popular examples in GLJS docs, which will then show you how to perform the use cases using React without a wrapping library. And also each of these React examples contains, as you can maybe see from the quite tiny photo, an editing code sandbox button, which then you can, of course, which will enable you to extend your experiment and example code in a controlled environment. And then you can thereon out naturally move it into your own app when you're ready. And this was actually an addition to GLJS that was based on a growing request amount from you guys, our customers. And of course, we do want to support these popular frameworks that web developers are currently using. And then we have our flow type to TypeScript migration that we released in the 3.5. And we've seen a lot of adoption, a lot of investment from TypeScript side. And with this migration, what we're hoping to achieve, looking to improve, is our code quality and reliability, and also as well as provide you, our customers, with a better developer experience through type annotations that are always up to date and maintained by us, and yeah, robust. Yeah, and yeah, you can switch to the next slide. No, actually, we can cover the partial GeoJSON update as well from this slide still. So this was introduced in v3.6, and this is a support for a new and more dynamic rendering mode for our GeoJSON sources, which is better suited in, for example, if you have use cases where you have small data that's updated frequently, such as animations or features moving across the map. And this enables you to update specific features in the source without having to update the whole source. And thus the upfront cost of the updating the data is much, much smaller. Now I can move to the next slide, where I'm going to be talking to you a little bit more about our improvements to standard style. And quick recap, if you're not yet familiar with standard style, it's a very elegant and highly performant default map style. And it brings 3D readily available to all, and includes the major benefit that updates take effect automatically. You don't need to do time-insensitive manual style edits that also can risk breaking changes. But yeah, moving on to what we've released just last month is many improvements to standard that expand the usability and flexibility of the style. And one of these improvements is the new color themes that enable you to easily make your own data pop out from the base map. And these are monochrome and faded theme. And as you can see in the visualization, they also support the dynamic light presets that we have in our standard style, which are dawn, day, and dusk, night, so that they can be set to correlate with the user's surroundings. Yeah, these themes are implemented using lookup tables, loots, and as a sneak peek to the future, we're also exploring options to enable our customers to develop color themes, custom color themes using custom loots. Yeah, and here are some other improvements that we made. So while we know that we love 3D and we think that 3D maps are very impressive, we do recognize that there are not the optimal approach for all use cases. So that's why we introduced visibility configuration in the studio that you can see here, where you can easily toggle 3D models on and off. And this, of course, enables also the customers who prefer 2D to also benefit from the styling and technical advantages of standard, such as the dynamic lighting that I mentioned earlier. And also, if your use case calls for satellite imagery, you can now answer this use case also with standard, because we did introduce also standard satellite style, which is a little bit of a name monster if you ask me, but it's also a very, very stylish satellite imagery using style. And it does also include the benefits introduced with standard style, so dynamic lighting there as well. In addition, we also improved our label placement to decrease cluttering, improved performance by showing building extrusions only when necessary, having them fade from the horizon. And for customers who want to, for example, bring in their own 3D models, showcase a 3D model in our 3D map, they can now replace the existing 3D content from a certain area with 3D clipping layers. And last but not least, for customers who, for example, need to indicate that a route takes place inside a building, we now support the possibility to set opacity value for line inclusion when a line is, for example, behind a building extrusion, and thus we can improve the experience for our, for example, wayfinding customers. Yeah, that's all from my part, and I'll hand over the mic to the search team.
Hello, everyone. This is Murat. I'm a product manager in the Mapbox search team. So I'll briefly talk about our Searchbox offering. So Searchbox API is our all-in-one search product. So as a developer, you can search for addresses, POIs, and locations in a single API. We open it up for general availability this year, and we support a variety of different use cases. In your web application, let's say you're building a food ordering app and a user chooses a delivery location, or you want to enrich a user post, you take the user post and enrich it with location data. or you want to search multiple results on a map and interact with a map. This is all use cases supported by Searchbox API. You can either use our endpoints for autocomplete or text search, or you can use Mapbox Search JS and quickly add search capabilities into your existing map. The second important use case is when you give a coordinates and get back locations. So think about use cases like a driver needs to find a closest gas station, or a search user is looking for an hotel around where the user is, or you're building a social app and you want to, check-in feature. You want to select a location for check-in, or you want to tag a photo with nearby locations. So all these use cases are supported with two endpoints. We have its category and reverse endpoints. When you have a location coordinate and you want to get related results around that location, that's the use case we support very quickly and easily with Searchbox API. Also, we have a new product. Let's say you already have working on a maps and search, and you're storing some IDs from those locations. You can use those IDs, make lookups, and get rich metadata for locations, for places, POIs, and boundaries. This is Details API. It's in private preview. If you want to test around, it's available for early access. Just go to mapbox.com/details, fill in the form, and you're going to be able to access Details API. And here we support any use case that you want to get rich metadata. This could be like routes, images around for POIs. And if you are saving those IDs, the universal Mapbox ID, and you want to retrieve this result later, you can use Details API for this use case. And now I'm passing through to Ryan for navigation features.
Hi, I'm Ryan Leidig. I am the head of product for our on-demand logistics products, matrix optimization, isochrones, and I put them all together for some of our customers who are doing products that from order to fulfillment are less than 18 hours. So we've seen all of the amazing things Mapbox has built into our maps and the ways your users can search these maps, but we need to get to the big goal, getting your user from wherever they are to where you want them without distractions. And one of the ways we can do this is customizing our points of interest on the map to create a brand-centric experiment that can drive customer engagement. And we can also enable the customization of your points of interest on the map, not just to highlight your locations, but hide competitors and other distractions. We see this a lot, especially with like our telecom customers, where all of the different phone stores are clustered in a specific area. Don't want to give your end user an idea. Maybe there's another option when they're already come to you and are using your sites. As said previously, maps are rendered in real time at 60 frames per second on web and mobile. So powerful clustering controls, they let you easily visualize all of these locations and display them in the way you want them and you want your users to experience them on your site. One of the companies we do this also with is Rocket Homes. Over on the next slide. Rocket Homes is using our isochrones product, and it combines maps, search, and navigation, and it serves as a bespoke customer experience with what you're seeing here. So they enable their users to create a custom search criteria such as show me all the new listings within a 10-minute drive of my office. And they create an isochrone. That's what you're seeing on the right. It's a polyline showing everything you can reach from 10 minutes from the point, which is the office. That creates a boundary that you can insert into your search program and then display a map of all the listings that meet the drive time criteria, which is what you see on the right. Those are all the houses that are available for sale within 10 minutes of that point. We do the similar isochrones with AllTrails showing all recreation opportunities, and we keep seeing new and interesting ways people are using combining isochrones, search, and maps to give their customers and users a unique bespoke experience that is not only fun to use, but something that keeps bringing them back and offers a level of customization that is not typically capable with other providers. So that's most of what we have for today. I know Chris is going to get some Q&A, and I'm seeing some questions popping up in the chat.
Excellent. Thank you all for these presentations. So again, that was maps, search, and navigation. And I love especially the navigation side of things is, you're not necessarily doing real-time nav in a web app, but there's still plenty of navigation-based data and overlays and things like that you can use to cut your own data. So you really need to look at the full suite of services. I'm not seeing any, am I seeing any questions in the chat? Okay, I have a couple. So this one is for Mira. Are partial GeoJSON updates done automatically by Mapbox GL JS, or do developers need to determine which part of the JSON has changed and use a partial update operation?
Yeah, I would actually refer this question to Stefan, which you can,
welcome.
he just joined, so if you don't mind repeating it.
Did you hear the question?
Hey everyone, could you please repeat it, Chris?
Sure. It's basically about partial JSON updates. Are they done automatically by Mapbox GL JS, or do developers need to determine which part of the JSON has changed and use a partial update operation? I guess if you can just tell us, like, how does partial GeoJSON updates work in GLJS?
Yeah, so basically the whole purpose of this update GeoJSON functionality is to make sure that you can like performantly update all the necessary data you want to show on the map. So imagine you have a car that is like moving along the streets, and you can update the car position using this update GeoJSON. So basically you have to know what kind of feature you want to update on each frame, and you can call the update GeoJSON with the new coordinates, and that will be updated performantly and will ensure that it has smooth animation and all the, yeah, it looks pretty good.
All right, thank you. Another question we received is the isochrone API already available for public use? Ryan.
Yes, easy enough. Yes, the isochrone is in general availability. I will drop a link in the chat here in just a second once I get to the search the documentation. All you need is a Mapbox account. I believe right now the free tier is 100,000 a month, which is plenty. We do limit it to 2 hours because we start running into timeouts and other computational issues if bigger than 2 hours. But really, I've only had 2 or 3 customers ever ask me for something bigger. But yeah, I will give you the documentation and you are good to go as soon as you have a Mapbox account.
Thanks. And I'll also call out that we have a great playground, and especially for isochrones, you can literally just drag around the pin and it'll generate the isochrone, and then it'll give you a nice API call that you can just copy and paste into your application. So check out the playground for sure.
Every time I demonstrate isochrone for a customer, I have to at least 5 minutes because people want to drop that pin on their house and play with it for that long. So yeah, it's a good playground.
Yes, exactly. Extremely powerful feature there. Okay, is navigation API support, does it support different modes of transport? So they were talking about the directions API. So what are they asked transit, for example, but I guess that one's for Ryan as well.
Yes, so we have 4 modes right now: walking, cycling, which are pretty much self-descriptive. The cycling one takes into account bike lanes and uses cycling speed. And we have 2 driving profiles right now: driving with typical traffic, which is just an average, and then driving traffic, which is using live traffic, which uses the bespoke traffic data that Mapbox collects through our SDKs and gives you every 5 minutes, it updates the traffic for every road segment in the United States. So that is something that you can make depending on your use case. If it's a planning use case compared to hey, I'm an actual navigating in real-time use case, either of them may work. We do not have transit yet. We are working towards it. One of the behind the scenes things with transit is there is no standardization or main agencies that this data comes from. It's usually dealt with on a municipal level, and each one looks differently. So a lot of the work we're putting into trying to do the multimodal, because we're looking at, you get a dockless scooter and ride to the subway station, and take the subway station to a terminus where you walk, and being able to put all those together. The data sources are not clear, concise like all the other things.
Excellent. All right, thank you. I have one more question. This one might be maybe too big for this, but maybe we'll see what Stefan has to say. Let's say I have a huge Photoshop-like app, and I guess what they mean there is lots and lots of UI, like complex UI, where I can do lots of stuff on a map, like drawing and measuring. Any tips on how to structure the code base to handle tons of map functionality and keep things modular?
Well, that's a really broad topic to discuss, but I would say that, for example, we have such kind of Photoshop-like application for maps that is Studio, and like the Studio internals are pretty modular, and we are using React to develop the Studio. So I would say that like keeping things as simple as possible and keeping the state as clear as possible and making everything like immutable would be a good start to make such things of like this kind of operations maintainable. So you can structure your code around with functionality, but yeah, just start and see where you go.
Okay, thank you. So I wish we had demo apps that went that deep, but I don't think we do as far as anything that we maintain. But there's probably other ones out there that are open source that you could probably see some good patterns in. Another question for Stepan. Is the dynamic lighting feature primarily for the purpose of rendering day and night maps and adding realism to 3D maps, or is it possible to play around with the mapping directionality of light at different times of day or year? Basically, can we control the sun?
Well, for sure, like the new 3D lighting system is pretty complex and it allows you to do a lot of different stuff. We have this kind of direction light, which allows you to like change the basically the direction of the light, and we have the ambient light type, which is like allows you to modify the ambience of the light, and together they like allow you to do pretty complex and beautiful things. So please refer to the docs on the docs.mapbox.com. You can find the documentation how it should work. But yeah, basically it allows you to do a lot of different stuff.
Great. I'll also call out that there's an app called Sunlit, which we'll be presenting at our developer show and tell on Friday. So you'll see, I think they're doing a lot more complex things than you can do out of the box, but they're adding overlays and other things for doing shadow analysis. So be sure and check that out. I think we have a question for Murat. Is there a free tier for the details API, which is not quite released yet, but I think you can answer that question about will it be available for everyone to use for free?
Yes, we have a generous free tier where you can prototype and run your app. Pricing is not available publicly yet. It's going to be available as soon as we go to public preview.
Excellent. Thank you. And they have one more question from an anonymous attendee about, is it possible to manage both a geo map and an internal place map at the same time, like at a shopping mall? So a car drives into a parking lot and then the map can show them how to get to the store they need. Maybe Mira or Stepan can answer that one.
Yeah, I can tell that we are working on some new feature that would allow you to do such things, but it's not publicly available yet. But yeah, in the future, we definitely will allow using this kind of indoor mapping.
All right. I think that is all the time we have for today. So we're going to wrap it up. If we didn't answer your question, I apologize, but we do have an AMA session, or you can maybe try throwing it in our Discord and see if we can help you out there. But I want to thank all of our excellent product folks and our engineer, Stepan, who showed up to answer all these questions, and wish you all the best in your adventures in Mapbox as you build your web projects. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for the engagement, and enjoy the rest of Build with Mapbox. Take care.